Guys, welcome to TenX Profits. Today we're making a video on Bitcoin update. Today's video is basically for the short sellers. So if you are a short seller on Bitcoin, watch out. As you can see here, we are hitting the resistance of the downtrend wedge that we've been covering for the last couple of videos now. As you can see here, the downtrend has been trying to go forming pretty strong here, and at this level that we are at right now at 92,000 it's basically following the downtrend very nicely. As you can see here, it's about to break. So if you're a short seller, I would be covering very soon. As you can see here, it's following exactly the way we want. So in today's video, we'll be covering exactly why we believe it's going to be breaking out very soon for Bitcoin, and the indicators that we'll be looking at. So if you have TradingView and you want to follow along, so the TradingView, if you are on the free version, it's only going to give you at least 3 indicators that you can input. But if you upgrade the TradingView to Pro, I believe, you can add at least 5 indicators, and that's exactly what we have right now. Again, you don't really need the indicators, but here we like to follow patterns and history, and as you can see that we have drawn out here, we love looking at the charts and doing chart analyzing and doing chart analysis. So if you like what we do here, like the video and subscribe to it to follow along for Bitcoin updates. So the reason why we like to cover Bitcoin is because we believe Bitcoin is the driver of liquidity, meaning that liquidity is always going to be the driver pushing the market up higher and higher. And whenever the liquidity goes up, Bitcoin is going to be the leading indicator that's going to show us that the whole market's going to be following along. So we believe covering Bitcoin also covers the rest of the market as well. So that's the reason why we're covering majority of the time is going to be Bitcoin. And then if you want to follow along in terms of Solana, Ethereum, Tesla, MicroStrategy, any of the other stocks that you want to follow, we look at Bitcoin for the liquidity as a leading indicator, and that's exactly how it's been playing out so far. So let's get into the indicators that we're using here. But if you do want to upgrade and you want to support the channel, please go into our description and click on the affiliate link for TradingView if you want to support our channel. If not, you're still good to follow along on the free version as well too. Okay, so right here, as you can see, we have the volatility index right here. So we covered already that it has formed a bottom, and now it's following, and it's on its way to go back up here. As you can see, we have a divergence of it. So that's a low and that's a higher low. So now it's forming the beginning leg of an of a reverse uptrend here. Here's a downtrend, and here potentially we are going to, this is potentially the pattern that when Bitcoin's gonna be breaking out right there. Okay, so if it's following this pattern here, we did mention we will look at also the liquidity map that we covered before, and it shows that the liquidity, or the institution, is going to be wiping out some of the longs. So as it's following along here as the downtrend, it's creating this very potential doji, not quite a doji, but very similar to, basically the sellers don't have the momentum. Basically the buyers are leading at this point, but also taking a breather. So potentially when there's a run up like this, there's always going to be a pullback. So we're waiting for that pullback to come down here, but the way it's looking with the momentum, as you can see our OBV MACD indicator here. So the blue means that the buyers is coming in and it's been leading, and this is the zero line that we're waiting for to break out, because as you can see here, when it breaks out of the zero line here, you can see Bitcoin going up and the rest of the market follows along too. So we are basically at the edge of that zero line. When that breaks, it's going to fall suit with the breaking of this downtrend. And once that breaks of the downtrend, if it closes above that, as you can see the buyers are basically taking the lead here. So we could actually break by tomorrow, Friday, Friday tends to be a sell-off, so we'll see how that plays out. If it does break and it gets rejected, then it's gonna play along here until it hits this squeeze, this wedge around here, and then it's eventually gonna have to go either way. But with the momentum going here, with our MACD indicator showing that it's potentially gonna be breaking above, and we also had the longs here for the Bollinger Bands and the RSI already flipping, so that's again the bottom over there. And then we also have the trend exhaustion that has indicated our bottom here and reversal. So we got the reversal arrow there. And then also another trend speed analyzer, meaning that the trend is starting to pick up momentum. So we want the bars to be bigger and greener and grow past this level here. So we want to see this build up gradually like that. And then we're going to see Bitcoin move exactly like that. Again, with the last video that we covered, Bitcoin right now is making the same sort of pattern here. So it has that downtrend, falling wedge, and then it starts breaking up and starts running up from there. As you can see here, where the MACD indicator here, the OBV, start breaking out, and you start seeing Bitcoin running up there, and we start seeing the trend exhaustion going up, and then follow suit with this trend speed analyzer starting to build up gradually, and then starting to make all-time high. So that's basically what we're looking to happen again. So again, downtrend wedge right here, OBV starting to break above the zero line there. This is starting to pick back up with the trend exhaustion, and then this is starting to build up the momentum. So we want each bar to be bigger than the rest, and then we're going to start seeing this breakout. Once this breaks out, then you're going to start seeing the leg up again. So keep in mind, when it does break out, this breaks out really fast. So we're hoping that's going to make the same type of pattern, but usually when there's a breakout, there's always going to be a pullback. So a breakout, a little bit of pullback here. Sometimes you like to see a pullback that's halfway of the breakout bar, and that's a healthy pullback, and then it's going to start running up again. But normally it runs up, it takes a breather, runs up, takes a breather, and runs up. If you mark it for some time there, you'll know that that's exactly how a bull run uptrend starts forming and how it runs. If you don't, at least now you know. So just follow along. All right, so that's basically what we're expecting. Okay, now we can look into the VIX here. So another thing that we're looking at for the VIX here, the VIX is sitting at 1578. So when we had our Bitcoin hitting all-time high at 126, that was October 6, I believe, October 6, around here. So at that October 6 level, Bitcoin was actually sitting below our trend line here. So this is the trend line for the VIX that we're covering, and we like to look at the VIX because the VIX determine if there's volatility that's going to be shaking the market, manipulations, or if it's going to be going back up. So these levels here between this bar, between the 16, 17, and 15, or the 14. So there's the 1461 here and 1649. This level here is basically where we want the volatility to stay. When the volatility stays here, Bitcoin tends to go up. So we'll go and see exactly how that lines up here. So again, October 6 was this bar here, and Bitcoin was sitting below this trend bar. So October 6, you're gonna see here, October 6, Bitcoin hit the all-time high at October 6. So when it's starting to go up like that, we wanted to see the VIX staying below this level here. So when we had that spike of volatility and the fear, we did see Bitcoin drop and the market drop. So this is not what we want to see. But sometimes it's needed for a healthy reset of all the leverage players out there. Again, we'll look into the charts for the leverage players in the liquidity map. So as you can see here, we are now below the line, below the trend line here, which is very bullish. So as long as the volatility stays within this range, we can see Bitcoin going up. So also another reason why we saw the bottom was because we got the VIX on a downtrend. When VIX on a downtrend, the market and Bitcoin's gonna be going up. So you can see here the crossing of the momentum coming down for the VIX, and also the MACD right here, the VIX coming down. So that's how we knew that the volatility is going to drop. When the volatility is going to drop, meaning that the market's going to start going back up again, and that's exactly what happened. So we wanted to stay within this range here, between the 16 or 17 and 14. So within that range is very healthy for Bitcoin or the market to be going up. So as long as it stays here, and right now we are staying there, and as you can see here, as we're speaking, it's the buyers trying to break this downtrend here. So you could see it fairly soon. By the looks of it, the momentum is on our side for the bulls. So for the short sellers, I'd be a little bit worried. If you haven't been liquidated already, you may be liquidated already or soon. So I would be covering soon. So again, you can start seeing this is the new leg of the uptrend for Bitcoin. And as you can see here, the money supply, M2 money supply, it's just going up. So there's a lot of liquidity in the market, and potentially that's going to be rolling into Bitcoin, and it's starting to now. Okay, so another thing that we want to look at, the fear and greed index. As you can see here, the fear and greed index at 39. Last video that we covered, extreme fear and greed, exactly where you want to be buying. In a bull market, again, for short sellers, I know you're going to hate me for saying this, but you thought that the bull run's over, the cycle's over, and when you were looking at, when we were in the extreme fear here, a lot of people thought that it's time to sell, but that's actually the time to buy. And as you can see here, fears started to be at 39, and potentially it's going to be going back to extreme greed, and that's probably when we're going to see Bitcoin hitting at 150,000. Maybe not by the end of January, but potentially leading into 2026, we're going to see Bitcoin over 150. I believe, according to Tom Lee, he believes that as well too. Okay, so again, now let's look at the liquidity map here. As you can see, the liquidity map, we are at 92,029 right there, this line here, and this is basically where all the shorts are going to be liquidated, and this is where all the longs are going to be liquidated here. So potentially we do have a potential 100x leverage here, which is very close by, which is at the 91,653. So most of the times before the next run up, the market makers and the exchanges like to liquidate these 100x leverage players, and if that gets liquidated really fast, it's going to go for the 50x leverage players here, so at 91,523. So potentially that would be the bottom, and then it's going to start running up, and then we're going to see the market makers chasing the 93,400, and then potentially back to around 94, 95. But as you can see here, it's not much of a headwinds over here. So once we start seeing this, we're going to cover it again, and potentially Bitcoin's going to be at 100,000 by the time we end the year. So that's what we have for you today. If you appreciate the video, like it and subscribe to it, and we'll see you in the next video. Thanks again for watching. Bye for now.